Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Cavness HR weekly live stream. I'm Daniella Mestenek-Young, and this is the live stream where we deep dive into one issue about workplace culture, leadership, or human resources. I am sorry that I'm late today. We usually live stream at 12:30 Seattle time. Things happen, running late. Here I am. Most of you watch this on replay, so feel free to dive in. Today, we are going to talk about how shifting perspectives makes us better leaders. Being better leaders, of course, helps us to build better workplace cultures in our organization. So to start off, I'm going to tell you a little story. This is called the Easter Bunny Conundrum. This is an old blog post. You can go back and look it up. We haven't done a chat about it, so we're going to chat about it today, and then I will share out the links as well so you can read the story. So a few months ago, I was in an airport lounge with my husband, sipping some champagne. We were snacking, getting ready to get on an airplane. And I was trying to ignore completely my overly tired 3.5-year-old who was lying under the table, being, as you know, if you have children, a giant pain. We knew that a lot of the stress in our trip would come from managing this very tired small child. And so she was lying on the ground under the table, just like splayed out on the floor in the airport lounge, singing loudly and being generally annoying. Out of nowhere, she's like, "Look, I see a chocolate bunny." And my husband and I just look at each other and we look back at our child and we're like, no, baby girl, sorry. And she continues and she tries in like several different ways. She's like, "Look, chocolate, look, a rabbit." She speaks a few languages. She tried those. We still weren't getting it. And finally, I was just like, what is she talking about? She's not letting this go. So I got down on the floor and I lied next to her and I looked up. And sure enough, under the table was a sticker of an Easter bunny surrounded by chocolate eggs. And this was a very interesting moment for me. Because first of all, I realized, yeah, it seems obvious. I obviously should have looked where she was looking from the perspective she was looking at. Two, as a mom, I was just very, very glad that other people's children also like to embarrass them by lying on the floor because obviously some child had put that sticker there in the past. So I got up from the floor and I brushed myself off and I turned to my husband and I said, "See, this is culture." And he said, "What do you mean by that?" And I was like, well, how many parents, we almost did it ourselves, would just have been like, "No, this child is just being fanciful. Like she's just imagining, she's making things up. I'm not going to get down. I'm not going to shift my perspective and I'm not going to look at it from her perspective." And let me just say, like, we're not special. We're not amazing parents. Of course, we try to be, but we have purposefully been going through this kind of active listening phase with her and with us. We've been learning all these new things. So of course, now as my perspective as the culture advisor to business leaders, this got me to thinking. This is what we do so often, right, in the workplace, is that we even when we are good at creating these diverse teams, these new ideas, getting people to think outside the box and being bold enough to bring up their ideas, so many times we forget that sometimes we need to change our perspective and look at it from a different angle before we can even understand what these people are talking about. So what we tend to do in these situations is we tend to overlook the perspective of others. This is human nature. We see things from our perspective and we assume that our experience is correct because we lived it and that our perspective is correct. Of course, our perspective is correct. There's just so many different angles, right? I was not wrong in thinking that there were no chocolate bunnies. Like, there were no chocolate bunnies in my line of sight. There were chocolate bunnies in her line of sight. It's a new, different organization. A lot of times as business leaders, we'll sort of smile, we'll write people off, we'll nod our head, we'll hear what they have to say, but we'll say, "No, that seems crazy." So what we should be doing is we need to take the time to listen fully, to actually try as much as possible to consider the things from that team member's perspective. And if we don't know that team member's perspective, we need to ask them. We need to ask them, hey, why do you think that way? Explain to me this idea. Explain how you came up with this idea. As leaders, we need to create that space for our team to speak freely and introduce ideas. I recently saw some research that organizational psychologists were doing that says that people that introduce lots and lots of ideas impact the amount of ideas that other people introduce and the amount of new ideas that that organization has to pull from. Even if every single idea that person introduced was wrong or bad or didn't get used, it actually still positively impacts the outcome of a good idea being accepted, being chosen. Because that creativity and that freedom that it allows for other people to speak up, that's how you're going to get the most new ideas introduced into your organization. We have to challenge ourselves to believe that every idea has value, at least until we consider it from every possible angle and decide that it doesn't. At the end of the day, I was happy because I knew that my daughter felt listened to and understood. I got on the ground with her. We had this conversation about Easter bunnies and stickers and chocolates. And then we got some stickers on the plane, which meant she was super happy just putting stickers on everything on the plane ride. And the plane ride went super smoothly and turned out to be this fantastic experience for everyone involved. So I will just encourage you, the next time you hear an idea that seems crazy to you, first of all, congratulate yourselves because you've created an environment where people feel free to speak up about crazy ideas. And then challenge yourself to change your perspective a bit and see if that idea doesn't seem just a little less crazy to you, whether you choose to employ it or not. Shifting your perspective is always, always, always a powerful tool. Thank you guys so much for listening. I am Daniella Mestenek-Young. I'm a TED speaker, an author, a U.S. Army combat veteran, and the co-founder of Cavness HR. Cavness HR is a HR tech company that we are building with the idea of bringing big business HR and making it available and accessible to small businesses. We are doing that through a variety of interesting tech products and virtual consulting, coaching, and HR expertise. So follow along with us everywhere you get your social media. You can connect with me on LinkedIn and on Twitter. You can read my very interesting article about cult and group mentality. And please follow me if you are interested in hearing more about an exciting upcoming book that I hope to have soon. One more time, our live streams are usually every Tuesday at 12:30 PST or 2:30 Central, sometimes a little bit late, but I try to be on time. Please feel free to leave comments, discussions, debate, find me online and criticize me. I love it all. Thank you, and just remember to be great every day.